Okay, so this morning our devotional is called Call Out or Call In. It says, we cannot mature in our faith without community. We just cannot. The process of maturing isn't simple and it isn't smooth. It's one of getting off track and getting on track again and again and again. We need help with that. We're designed to be together. We're built to need one another. To grow up healthy in God and robust in love, we need community. Ephesians 4:14-16. To help, though, our communities must actually be capable of picking us up and getting us on track and encouraging us on. Our communities must be places we're willing to speak the truth in love, Ephesians 4:15. Speaking that way requires moving beyond simply being polite to one another and ever ignoring or excusing sin. It also requires moving beyond just pointing out sin or shortcomings or what bothers us or what we think might bother God. Speaking the truth in love doesn't require us to call each other out. It requires us to call each other into true identity. It requires us to call each other away from sin and into identities God had in mind when He designed us, built us, and set us in motion, because this is who we really are. Okay, so what do we do? Do you have a sense for true identities of your brothers in community? Get serious about learning. Get intentional about allowing God to show you when you meet next. Oh, that part doesn't matter. Okay. So we talk a lot about our Plexus community and how important it is. And it said maturing in faith, and I feel like maturing in faith in anything that you do isn't simple. It's a lot of like what it said, getting off track and then getting back on track over and over and over. So no matter how many times you fall off, stepping back in. So like if you slack with your business and took the summer off and slow down, it's allowing yourself that, okay, I did that, but to get back on track and reminding yourself of what you have to do and being mindful and getting back on. And like it says in there, we need help with that. We need a community. So you really have to make sure that you're plugging yourself in, that you're getting on the calls, and that you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people. It's also really important that you have the right people that are getting you on track and not dragging you down, but people that are lifting you up. And that's with everything, like your faith and your business, that you're surrounding yourself. I know on Facebook not long ago, I seen those posts that said like, if you're hanging out with 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th, but pretty much just saying the people that you're hanging out with, that's who you're going to kind of turn into. That's the things that you're going to start thinking is okay, the things you're going to do it. So you want to make sure that you're keeping those right people in your life. And you also want to make sure that you are the person to others that they need in their life. If you are having a hard time with your business, you're having a hard time maybe with your faith and where you want to be, to make sure that you're not going to a group of people and able to just vent and complain and them just be in agreement with everything that you're saying. And then you kind of walk away feeling defeated, like, yeah, I was right, everything's awful. That's not what you want. You want to be able to walk into a group that they are going to fill you up. I feel like I have a really great circle, and it's pretty much my sisters and Crystal, which is pretty much my sister. But each one of them, I feel like obviously God to put them in my life, but I need them in each of the way that they build me up. Crystal, if you know her, she has an incredible story and she has overcame so much, but she is somebody who, if you go and talk to, she's not gonna hold back. She's gonna tell you what it is and tell you what you need to do and go on. And Kara, she's someone who I've been to a lot, and she will agree with you like whenever you're going through hard times, and she understands, but she will never give you advice that's not biblical. Even if it's hard, like she's always checking herself and making sure that she's giving you biblical advice. And then with Bailey is somebody who, whenever she's so good at seeing the good side to everybody. So if you try to go and talk to her about anybody or anything, then she's going to turn around and tell you but how they're probably thinking or the good side of them. So I feel like we just have to be really mindful of who we're surrounding. Anytime I go and talk with any of those girls, then I walk away feeling uplifted, knowing what I need to do, knowing what to need to do to be better. You want to walk away from your community feeling powerful. Get intentional about allowing God to show you. we have to be very intentional about what God is trying to show us to do, what God wants us to do. And that's by spending time in prayer. Going to church is part of your community, being in church and being surrounded by people like that. I know a lot of times conviction is hard. So when we know that something in our life is not right on track, then we would rather just ignore it. We don't want to go to church because we don't want to feel that conviction of what we're supposed to be doing. We don't want to show up to the Zoom calls because we know we haven't done any of the tasks that we're supposed to do that week. But lucky for us, we have a forgiving God that is full of grace and full of love. And it doesn't matter how many times we mess up, every single time we come back, he's going to be there with wide open arms, just waiting for you, ready to lead you and guide you. And we try to do that in our business. No matter how many times that you guys fall away from this business, whenever you come back, we are here to support you, lift you up, go over everything with you again and how to do it. It's very easy to get out of the routine, especially in the summer when we have so much going on. It's very easy to get out of the routine of what we're doing and what we're supposed to be doing in our business. But now we just have to be mindful and get back into that. So making sure that you're showing up to the calls, surrounding yourself with us, getting on the Facebook groups, the challenges that we do, like we're about to start a reset challenge that Kara's going to be talking about, showing up for those challenges. You may not realize, you may think that stuff doesn't really matter, but the more stuff that you're involved like that, whenever you are commenting on posts, whenever you are posting, when you are sharing your journey, that all just stays in your mind and just helps you continue on with it. Okay. Do you want to
Sorry, I was muted. Whenever you're talking about like the type of person you want to be and stuff like that, two things always stick in my mind whenever I'm thinking about myself and my own walk is am I being somebody that I would personally look up to? And am I being a type of leader that I would want to lead? And I'm always like, I always want to be that type of person that I feel like people could confidently, like I would confidently look at that person and be like, okay, that's somebody that I would want to look up to. That's somebody I would want to lead like, and just checking yourself in that way. And Amanda and I always love like when God does this, but we didn't necessarily like, we both knew that we had points that we were talking about, but we didn't know exactly what each other was talking about. And this is definitely one of those days that I feel like things really kind of unite really well. So as I've been doing the past several weeks is been going through this book, Success is a Choice. Throw in my little pitch again. It's really good if you want to read it. It's got a lot of good stuff. But today is all about chapter 5, and it's talking about focusing your energy. And honestly, I've got just a lot of stuff underlined in here because he says it better than like I could even get it across. So starting out, he says, focusing our energy does not come naturally to us, yet it is essential for anyone who wants to make the most of their talent. And I feel like Amanda also just a while ago, just talking about it's not always easy to stay focused. It's not always easy to stay on task. And that's kind of something that we do as humans. It's hard for us to stay focused, especially to stay focused for long term. We can be really excited for 30, 60, 90 days, but a lot of times things will start to kind of fizzle out for people and they don't want to have that long-term focus. And a lot of times that's because of lack of direction, lack of maybe quick gratification rewards that they're hoping to achieve. And when somebody will come into this business and they'll be like, I want to be emerald, I want to be diamond. That's not something that happens overnight. That takes intentionality, that takes work, that takes effort, and that takes focus. And it takes focus even in the valleys and the hills the whole entire way through. So, and like this is just even saying it's going over a lot of that, but it's really hard for us to focus. So if you can hone in on what your goals are and what you want your result to be and consistently focus on that, then you're going to eventually reach that. It took me 9 years to reach what I wanted to do, but it took 9 years of, for the majority of my business, staying focused and always pushing for that common goal, even in times whenever I would want to quit. And you guys have heard me talk about these stories before, so I'll save that, but that's just the intro of it. It says talent with focus directs you and has the potential to take you far. It says focusing can bring tremendous power. And this is one of the things that I think is important too in your business is making a point to time block. I was so frustrated this morning because we had this call this morning. My kids and I started school this week, and I was I was trying to get everything done. And I like every single time I would like start reading or start writing or listening, like one of my four kids would either start arguing, they would throw a fit about something. Mom, they would need me, they need to get up. So I literally had to get up, tell them like, okay, for like the next 15 minutes, like nobody can talk to me. And I went in my bedroom door and I locked the door. And because I needed that focused energy, that focused time and concentration to actually be successful in what I was wanting to do. So it goes over. So here's some facts you need to know about focus. Focus does not come naturally to most people, which is something that we talked about a while ago. And this is whenever time blocking is going to come. If you can schedule it out every single day, and you can, or so many times a week, like this day, I'm going to be working between 2 and 2:30 for 30 minutes. I will do that a lot of times in the morning whenever I'll get up. I'll drink my coffee, I'll read my Bible, I'll spend some time in prayer, and then I'll spend like 30 minutes. Okay, I'm making my post, I'm posting in my page, my stories, my timelines, stuff like that, because that's stuff that I can just intentionally get done during that time. But just taking time to actually concentrate. It says focus is number 2 is focus increases your energy. If you desire to achieve something, you first need to know what your target is. In contrast, focus gives you energy. Polar Explorer says, few men during their lifetime come anywhere near exhausting the resource dwelling within them. There are deep wells of strength that are never used. And one of the reasons those wells are often go untapped is lack of focus. Something wonderful happens when we narrow our focus and we set goals. That is whenever real magic starts to happen. The mind doesn't reach toward achievement until it has clear objectives. So again, just knowing what you're shooting for, knowing what direction you're wanting to go in. Focus lifts you up is number 3. It says in a sea of mediocrity, just knowing what you want to do and then making an effort to pursue it distinguishes you from almost everybody else. How many people do you know are letting life live them instead of living their life? Like they literally have a mundane routine. They get up, they go to work, they come home, they make dinner, they go to bed, they do it all again the next day, miserable in what they're doing, not happy with their life, but it's because they have no clear direction, they have no clear focus, and they have nothing that they are passionately pursuing in that time. It says focus expands your life. Focus must be intentionally sustained. People do not naturally remain focused. It's something that you kind of have to, we get off track and we have to gear ourselves back on track. That's what Amanda was talking about too. It's really important to surround yourself with people that's always going to pull you on track. We have created a circle and developed a circle is whenever any of us start to drift, we usually have people just pulling us back in and us aligning us what we need to do. And my sisters and I are all doing something completely different over the next 9 months. And one of the conversations that we've had is we are so proud of what we've built in this business and what this community. And we talked about as we pursue this together, like the things that we're going to continue to make sure that what we built in Plexus continues to stay and not only continues to just stay level, but we want it to continue to thrive. So we know that even though we're pursuing this, we're going to be intentional in this, and this is how we are going to make sure that happens, and that's how we are going to achieve it. But we're not just going to like hope and dream about it. We're going to be intentional and set goals and figure out, like, we have our plan set on what we're going to be doing during this time period. He says, I think what separates a superstar from the average ball player is they concentrate just a little bit longer. And I feel like the exact same thing is what separates a Jewel Plexus ambassador versus just a regular Plexus ambassador is they have managed to focus just a little bit longer. They happen to be intentional just a little bit longer. They didn't give up. They kept their focus until they got to the goal that they wanted to be. And reaching that status is definitely different for everybody. There's a lot of factors, but I definitely think that's the one thing that's going to separate it. And we talked about summer and falling off track during the summer. And I feel like that happens to a lot of people. And I get it. Summer is fun. You want to be outside. You want to be on the lake and the river and swimming and not inside working. And that's fine. If you got off track this summer, be intentional about getting on track. This part of the year for our team and our business, the end of the year explodes every single year. Like the last 3 years, it has always exploded towards the end of the year. So just because you feel like maybe you have gotten off track during the summer, don't miss what's coming at the end of the year, because we are expecting explosive growth within our team and also just within everything that Plexus has continuing to put out there for us with the new reset and things like that. So many more tools. And also next quarter, they are going to be launching the Leaders Retreat contest, which is the trip that you are going to be able to earn. And it is going, more than likely, because it's been like this every single year, it's also going to come with a shopping spree that you can earn and lots of cash prizes and stuff. Like, it's so fun. It's so worth working for. And what we're doing right now is going to set us into being able to like explode into that contest. Last year we were earning this contest within like before the it was the convention contest, like sweeping it within the first like month of the entire thing. But that's because of what we had done beforehand, like setting us up for success at that doing so. Success is the progressive realization of predetermined worthwhile goal. He says, what I learned most from that definition is that success is not an event, it is a process. So always remembering that too, that this is something that's going to be a process. It's not just one big event that happens. Even whenever you reach the top, it's still a process of journeying forward. Then it goes into how to increase your focus. Talks about being intentional and making every single action count. So this is, again, why we talk about goal setting, why you want to know exactly where you're going, what your goals are, like what direction that you're wanting to go in. People who are undecided about what they want to do or where they want to go cannot tap into their strength of will or their talent. And as a result, they merely drift along. Efforts and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. Number 2, it talks about challenging your excuses. We've talked about that before, not letting your excuses own you, being willing to overcome those. Number 3 is don't let yesterday hijack your attention. Don't let yesterday take up too much today. I've never known a person focusing on yesterday who had a better tomorrow. Too many people yearn for the past and get stuck in it. Instead, they should learn from the past and let go of it. Successful people forget. They know the past is irrevocable. They are running a race. They can't afford to look behind. Their eye is on the finish line. Magnanimous people forget. They're too big to let little things disturb them. They forget easily. If anyone does them wrong, they consider the source and they keep it cool. It's the small people who cherish revenge. Be a good forgetter. Business dictates it and success demands it. And then the next one is focusing on your present. And he gives things that he does every single day to make sure that he has a good present, because the actions that you're doing today is what's going to determine your success in the future. And he, again, what we've talked about, like especially in our silvers and sevens, a lot of the things are mundane. Sometimes it's just repetitive, but making sure that you, like for us, it's our list of things that we do every day. We post in buy, sell, trade sites. We follow up with people every day. We are posting on our timeline, posting in our stories. It's mundane, it's repetitive, but it's doing those things every single day that's going to pay off and make us successful in the end. It says giving it your focus will pay dividends. Number 5 was stay focused on results. And this, he talks about who you're surrounding yourself with a lot, which is what Amanda was going into. And then he says another thing that can distract you from result is interaction with difficult people. And I wanted to take a moment here and make sure that we're checking ourselves and making sure that we're not the difficult person. We have team chats and you have people that you personally signed up, but if any time that you are spewing negativity into your chats or negativity into your team members or anything, just know that that person could be hyper focused and they could be on their way and they could be super successful and things like that. But your little bit of negativity can start to come in and infiltrate that and start tearing people down immediately. And anytime you guys have any sort of complaints or negative things, it's okay to voice those, but you need to voice them to your sponsor and your sponsor only. You do not ever take that thing to a group chat, especially a chat full of people that are brand new, because we're constantly adding new people into our chat. And a lot of times, a lot of times whenever we're feeling that way, it's maybe because of a lack of activity on our part, a lack of focus on our part, or maybe we're not doing the things that we need to be doing. Number 6 is develop and follow priorities. And that is our system, getting really good at one thing. And he also is going into focusing on your strengths and not your weaknesses. So there's a lot of different ways to build your business in Plexus. And there's a lot of teams that do it differently than us. But if you can build your business however you want and however you're good at it. But for us, what has worked for so many of us is our system with our buy, sell, trade side. So if we can stay focused on the one thing and not try to dabble a little bit here, dabble a little bit there, and spread yourselves too thin, it is like the consistent focus that's going to help you be successful. And I think about if anybody's heard the story about McDonald's, when McDonald's first got started, there was a bunch of fast food chains that were also getting started around the same time. But what McDonald's did is they focused on their hamburger. They didn't worry about having their nuggets or their chicken sandwich or anything else. Like, they were focusing on having a really good hamburger, and that's what they promoted. And they ended up blowing past everybody else because they niched down to their hamburger, focused on making it good. So it's kind of the same thing with Plexus. If you get in your system and you focus on the system, if you can do that, then you're going to grow and thrive, instead of trying to dabble a little bit here, dabble a little bit there, spread yourself thin, and be okay at a lot of different things instead of just being really good at one thing. And number 8 was delaying rewards until the job is done. And do things that most people won't now, so you can live a life that most people can't later. And that's kind of what we're doing here. So a lot of the time, maybe you're having to put in extra hours, or doing that, like having to work your real job and do Plexus at the same time. But if you can do the hard things for a little bit, eventually you're going to be living a life that most people can't live, because your hard work paid off. So instead of feeling like you need a reward, eventually put in the effort now, and the rewards will come. It says, if you know that you have talent and you are energetic and active, but you don't see concrete results, the lack of focus is likely your problem. It takes ability plus focus to reach your potential and become the person that you are desired to be. So that was chapter 5 on that. Before we end it, I wanted to talk about our reset challenge. We've talked a little bit about it in our groups and our chats and stuff like that. But one of the things that I'm personally thinking with the reset challenge is, one, we need all of us as a team to be talking about this, to grab other people's attention. And we want to host it in the health and happiness community, because we want people to see the results in there and hopefully get other people interested in trying the reset. But we have a lot of people that maybe were on Plexus in the past and aren't doing it anymore or whatever. But this is a really great way to be reaching out to team members, maybe reaching out to wholesale customers that aren't ordering the product anymore. And I also think it would be really good for us to have maybe as either a power hour on Zoom, or if you're local and everybody wants to get together one day, but kind of having like a blitz day and us all being intentional that day and reaching out to everybody about the reset. And then having that challenge at the very end of the month. So the challenge date is the 29th, 30th, 31st. So the last couple of days of the month. So we can be working up until about a week before then to make sure everybody gets it in before then. But I think that's all I had. Amanda, Bailey, do you have anything else? No?
I feel like so many times we talk about, getting off track and stuff, and we understand that things get hard and life gets hard and things come up. But one thing that I have to remind myself constantly when I don't feel like doing anything, and I know I've said it before, is it may be a rough season, it may be hard, but it's always so worth it. It's always so worth it to get to the end of whatever you're working on. You set out to do this business for a reason. You set out for whatever goal you're doing for a reason. And so to stick through it, to stay focused and be intentional, like Kara talked about, it's always so worth it.
Mm-hmm. I always think too about what I could be doing. Like I had a eyelash appointment last week, and I got there and I was like, oh my gosh, like it was at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I usually make them in the afternoon. And I told her whenever I got there, I was like, we can't do 9 o'clock appointments anymore. Like I cannot get up and get out of the house and get over here by 9 a.m. She's like, I've got like 4 kids and I've got to be here by 8. I was like, listen, I don't live that life anymore. Like I'm so thankful that I don't have to get up. Like some people love that and that's fine. There's nothing wrong if you love that. But I am so thankful that because of the focus decisions that I've made, I don't have to do that anymore. And one of the things that keep me grounded in this is sometimes I may not feel like posting, sometimes I may not feel like doing the work, but I'm really thankful that I'm not getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be at work at 5:30 in the morning and working all day and also working holidays and missing all that with my family. So this definitely outweighs that for me personally. But thanks for jumping on here with us today, guys. I will try to upload the recording ASAP and post it. Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys.